The teaching that I'm going to share this morning, I just have to say, like so many teachings that have shaped me, comes from my teachers at Pardes in Jerusalem. I am deeply grateful for my time spent learning at Pardes. Their teaching, their wisdom, their courage in reading Torah with such honesty, such heart, really has shaped the rabbi that I've become. And whenever I feel stuck in thought, in faith, or in words, I turn to Pardes, and every time I find myself just as moved as when I was a yeshiva student, sitting in the Beit Midrash in Yerushalayim, drinking in the sweetness of Torah. I hope you'll enjoy it. Last week, we read about Noach, a man chosen by God to build an ark and save life amid a destructive flood. The Torah tells us that Noach was chosen because he was righteous and blameless in his generation. This week, we meet Avraham in the beginning. And God calls out to him, Lech lecha, go, become the father of the Jewish people. But this time, the Torah gives us no description of his character at all. No reason for why he is chosen to be the father of the Jewish people. And the rabbis wonder, why Avraham? What made him the one that God revealed God's self to? And so through Midrash, through exegetical storytelling, the rabbis try to come up with possible solutions, possible answers. In Bereshit Rabbah, the rabbis offer us a parable. A traveler walks by a birah doleket. I'm going to leave that phrase untranslated, just for now. And wonders, could it be that this building has no leader? Just then, a Baal looks out and says, I am the owner of this building. So too, the rabbis compare, Avraham looked out at the world and said, could it be that this world has no leader? And that's when God peeked out and responded, I'm the owner of the world. To understand how this parable answers the rabbi's question of why Avraham, we have to understand what is meant by the phrase birah doleket. Some rabbis say that it means a beautifully lit palace. If that's true, then that means Avraham sees a world full of order and majesty, a world so perfectly designed that it absolutely must have a designer. His question, who runs this place, is rhetorical. Of course there's a creator. The world is too perfect, too beautiful, too wonderful for there not to be. Perhaps Avraham's greatness, the reason for his chosenness, is his ability to notice the perfect beauty of our world, to stand in awe at the changing colors of the trees, just like those that are outside in this fall weather, or to see the perfect arch of a rainbow, to see the world through the eyes of what Abraham Joshua Heschel called radical amazement. But my teacher, Gila notices a flaw with this translation. In every other rabbinic text, and that's what you have to do if you want to understand a phrase that's a little strange or a little odd, you have to go to other rabbinic texts and see what it means. And in every other rabbinic text, birah doleket does not mean a palace lit up. It means a building on fire. And so if what Avraham sees is the world in flames, then his question changes completely. He doesn't call out to God in admiration or appreciation of the wonder and beauty of the world, but in anguish. He looks at the injustice, the violence, the pain, the chaos around him, and he demands to know who is in charge. And maybe that's why Avraham was chosen to lead the Jewish people. Not because he saw such beauty in the world, but because he didn't look away from suffering. And yet, he didn't just despair either. He could have hung his head when he saw evil in this world, and instead of negating the very possibility of God's existence, he called out to God to seek God's help. Perhaps that's what makes him worthy of the chosenness of leading or being the father of the Jewish people. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks combines these two readings, these two Midrashic readings, and translates birah doleket as a palace not beautifully lit, but in flames. For Rabbi Sacks, Avraham sees both realities at once: the beauty and the brokenness, the light and the darkness. He sees the gap between the world as it is and the world as it ought to be. And it's in that gap that he finds God. Faith, Rabbi Sacks teaches, is not believing that everything is fine. Faith is believing that the world can be better than it actually is, and that we must help it to be. Gila finds final chidush, her final teaching, her nuance, is that she reads this midrash in a fourth way, noticing a textual oddity in the Hebrew. The midrash uses two different words. If you remember from the beginning of my parable, Avraham asks if there's a leader, a manhig of the building, and God answers as an owner, a Baal. God may own the world, but God needs human beings to lead it. Perhaps Avraham was chosen to heed God's call of lech lecha, because he was the first person to understand that God may have built this world, but we are its caretakers. Where everyone else walked by the burning building, numb, maybe indifferent to the flames, Avraham stopped. He imagined something better, and he asked for God's help to create it. May we, like Avraham, notice all of the beauty in our world and not forget to pay attention to all of the brokenness around us. May we never become numb to the flames. May we never despair that they cannot be transformed to light. May we find the courage and the strength to hear our own lech lecha, to see the fires that need to be put out, and to believe in our ability to be the leaders, the manhigim, that partner with God to rebuild this broken and yet beautiful world. Shabbat Shalom.